today we deal with matters. OC, as Kibet told you, is an acronym for Ogiliegab Kutit. The Registrar of Societies, as you may be knowing, will always reject to register names which are which tend to be tribal or insinuating something that they don't understand. Like we are registering a political party without disclosing. So they rejected that first attempt. So we decided to become the good lawyers that we are, and we abbreviated it, and we now have OAK. So whenever you struggle OAK came from, it is just the acronym of Ogiliegab Kutit. And that it has been there since 2018, and we're moving on. Very soon we relaunched last year. You saw us at Weston. We did not invite politicians as such, but I think the head of public service was there. But the judges from our community were there, just like they are here today. And I'm particularly very happy that the judges from our community who I invited personally to come to this function agreed to do so. And others withdrew along the way there and gave me reasons which I have accepted. I'll not disclose, but they are supporting our cause. Some contributed and they may not be here because they believe in the cause. We humanize the legal practice among our community members. We want to ensure that lawyers become the epitome of justice, as mentioned by was giving us a sermonette. Justice is not just about what the Bible says. It is what the law also demands of us. So since we have judges here, and I know the current group that has been recruited, and those who were recruited earlier, they've been doing an excellent job. And during the program today, we shall be honoring them. All of them, all the Kalenjin, those Kalenjin speaking lawyers or judges, plus those who are associated with our community. You will understand the meaning of that when we start talking about it during the Roll of Honor Award, because we want to recognize all of them, because we appreciate them. The job they do is a lonely job. So judges, welcome. My colleagues, you're welcome. And we will run through this program as fast as we can to ensure that we don't bore you and keep you getting tired. We want to ensure that we have some little time left for us to interact and for us to know. You know, yesterday when I was planning to leave Nairobi, people were saying, we want to put face to names that we've been seeing. So judges, feel free. These youngsters here will want because they feel they don't have a close touch with you, and you are in that ivory tower there. When you sit on your desk as a judge, it is a long distance to reach you. So people want to feel closer to you. Maybe there'll be more when they appear before you, so they can make easier submissions which without feeling threatened or slightly tongue-tied. You know, sometimes you may not be able to say of the intimidating atmosphere. So all our judges to feel free, intermingle with us. This is an opportunity we don't get all the time, so we'll make the best that we can, given your presence.
My name's Isaac Ruto. Forget about those other names. Isaac Ruto is my name. I'm a member of the Judicial Service Commission. I'm the vice chair of the JSC. And we are contemporaries with Krugat. We were in college with him. I've seen one other colleague there. And they used to vote for me even at the university. I was the chair of the Kipsigis University Student Association and the vice chair of Students Organization of University of Nairobi, SONO, who were with Adungos. Unfortunately, passed on during the struggle, but never mind. Otherwise, karibuni Bomet. I'm sure I'll speak later. I was also a governor here. If I'm to tell you, I was the first governor here, chair of the Council of Governors. Pia nimekuwa mbunge, Assistant Minister Education, Assistant Minister Agriculture, Waziri Vocational Training, and Minister for Environment. I was the vice chair of the World Summit on Sustainable Development when we were approving the MDGs. Tulifanya kazi na Nyayo. Asante sana.
Let me quickly run through, introduce you to the committee members that put together this function. Quickly, Edmond Kiprono is the chairman, LSK Kericho Center. Caroline Chemutai, she's the vice chair, Bomet Center. Florence Bor, she's a council member, Bomet. Gladys Cheruto, she's a practicing lawyer in Narok, but also a member of the committee that put together this function. Peter Bore, our first moderator who spoke. Then Kip Koech, BN. We call him, during the campaigns, wanasema KBN ni tisho. That tisho he will tell you later when he talks, because a lot of people misunderstood it. It wasn't really tisho ya kutisha. It was a political slogan carrying several meanings.
Narok Kibet Senior Council na Moses Kurgat King's Council. Asante sana. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special occasion. This is a very rare moment in the county of Bomet and this region. Governor Barchok, for the first time in the history of Bomet and all of us lawyers here, we're having about 200 legal minds gathered this side. And it's not just legal minds. You have almost 10 judicial officers, some of whom might be joining the Court of Appeal very soon. We have lawyers with experience spanning more than 30 years, and you've heard them speak here. Several magistrates are here. We have professors here, like Professor Henry Mutai. You have very senior lawyers across the various sectors of the country. We even have ICC accredited. Our one and only Katwa Kigen. We have Chair Northrift, who is also the chair of Branch Caucus, Henry Kene, who would be speaking at some point. It is a very rare moment. It's a solemn occasion. This is not to scare anybody. We are going to have a one-on-one interaction. We're going to have a crossfire moderated by Dr. Mutai. It is that very rare moment when we are going to connect with the oldest advocates in the region. And you've heard Moses Kurgat saying he's been around for almost 40 years now as a practitioner, Narok Kibet Senior Council for almost 40 years at the same time, and then senior members of the bench. It is a very rare moment where we are going to connect, and I am sure it's going to be very beneficial. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, very quickly to bring on stage Lady Justice Roslyn Korir, presiding Judge Bomet, to make very brief remarks and welcome all of us on behalf of this station.
Your Excellency Professor Hilary Barchok, our governor in Bomet County, Wakili Hilary Sigei. I'm learning today for the first time that is your name. In fact, I have amended my remarks because I had called everyone else. Since I'm alone here, I can remove the mask. I had called everyone here Wakili, so I withdraw that, I amend. I think the rest of us will be counsel. So, Honorable Wakili Senator, Honorable Commissioner Isaac Ruto, Vice Chairman, Judicial Service Commission. I see my seniors in the Court of Appeal are not here, but they have given apologies and some are on their way. I'm made to understand. My senior Justice Sergon, presiding judge on Kericho. My brother, the rest are sister judges. My sister judges, they have introduced themselves. I acknowledge your presence. Clerk to the county, I have to acknowledge you because you have to whip up the assembly to provide funds to the governor so that he can support programs of the court. County solicitor, I have to acknowledge you so that you continue extending that support to the court. The seniors in the room, Kurgat, Gennaro, I think I did not say my year of admission, but I have carefully listened to the year that people are admitted. I think I should then be the 5th senior most lawyer in this room today. I was admitted in the year 1990. I also claim the coveted position of being the first Kalenjin woman judge, lady to be appointed a judge. So thank you so much for that, for that recognition. Our hosts, Council Ngeno and Caroline Chemutai of Bomet, and the team from Kericho. Good afternoon. Let me take this opportunity to acknowledge that this is a very rare occasion. It is my first time to attend the gathering of Ogiliek Ap Kutit. I was invited to the launch in Nairobi, but it coincided with a national activity which was taking place in Bomet, and so I could not make it. I send my apologies. Bomet is a land of immense resources, and I think the resource we'll be talking about today is here in the room. It is the legal minds of all of us put together. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, the Governor, for the immense contribution that you have given to Bomet law courts. When you give support to the court, you give support to the practice of law and the administration of justice, from which all of us here around the room earn our daily bread. And so we urge you to continue to support us, and your presence here today means a lot, not just to the court in Bomet, but to all the practitioners coming from this region. I want to thank you, Commissioner Isaac Ruto, and although you were appointed now more than a year ago, congratulations once more. Congratulations also for ascending to the role of the Vice Chair of the JSC. We celebrate the appointment of Commissioner Isaac Ruto. He has declared today he will not be called Keep anything. There is no Keep. He is Commissioner Isaac Ruto. We in the judiciary have seen your hand in the appointments that have happened. We have seen that there is fairness in the appointments that have been made in the recent past. we have sought no favors because we know that we are competent, that we are qualified, and that we only desire a level playing field, which your presence in the JSC has given us. And so for the practitioners who are out there, today, as we sit here, we are going to be encouraging you to apply and to get to meet the commission. Of course, when you will meet the commissioner there in the interview panel, you will not be smiling, but I think you will get fairness. So don't be discouraged. You apply. The judiciary, in implementing the social transformation for access to justice, takes on board all of us. And I think we are doing the same work, only from different perspectives. But the blueprint of the judiciary should unite all of us, because we are aiming at affording or enabling wananchi to access justice. And so as advocates, you do your part. As judges, we do our part. A comment has been made here that the judges are so high up there. Let me assure you that if you walk to this table, these judges will wake up and give you a hug. You know that? Oh, they don't believe. Oh, let them try. Okay, we are going to do a demonstration. Wakili Bernard, you can receive the first hug. So that is a relationship that should exist between us, so that as we do our work on the bench, you do your work from the bar, we all know that we are serving a common person. That is the person that is called in the national parlance Wanjiko, but I think when we're here, we can call Chebet, or something like that. So, such that I'm not saying that when we are working, there will not be, okay, let me put it this way. While at work, in every office, even in the governor's office, and in all your legal practices, and in the courts, there will be small things. There will be sibling rivalry, like there is in families, and there will be some friction. But when we have the bigger goal in mind, as Ogiliegap Kalenjin, we sit and we resolve those issues so that we propel those who are out wanting to come into the bench, we propel them upwards. Those who are in and they want to ascend higher, we propel them upwards. And so I think a meeting such as this is critical. We as advocates as well, we are a privileged lot. We are a privileged lot, because we have gotten the level of education that very few members of our communities have. And so what do we do to give back to our societies? I am very proud today of my sister, Lady Justice Ngetich. She's not here with us. She gave apologies, because today she was leading a team of judicial officers and advocates to visit the IDP people in Baringo. That is what I mean by giving back to society. And so if we hold our hands, if we put together our resources, we can do much more than just have our bread from legal practice. We can influence change. We can influence and mold society. So the topic for today that has brought us together is apt. We are witnessing a situation where there's a lot of transformation in the justice sector. And so those people who were admitted in, did we get anybody of 80s? Anyone admitted in the 80s? Oh, Kurgat and Rono. Jinaro Kibet, I know, will claim to be my senior, lakini ni mwaka moja tu. See, I was just next to you. So those of us who were admitted those days, the practice was then different. And the practice has evolved. And so how do we evolve with the practice? I think that is the question that this conference has today brought us together. Listening also to the introductions, I realized that we are 50-50, male to female. So the future is female. Why are you afraid to say? We are right now in this room 50-50. Mr. Mutai from School of Law, how is the data looking? More female than men. Is that a good or a bad thing? Let me hear from the men. Is that a good or a bad thing? It's a good thing. That brings me to my pet topic about Bomet. Your Excellency the Governor, Honorable Commissioner, Honorable Senator, Wakili, I have made this plea before. Let me make it again in the presence of all these learned minds. We need to do something about the boy child of Bomet. I know we need to do something about the boy child of everywhere, but Bomet. Reason is that when I look at the work I do in the court, our young men have filled the prisons for not only the sexual offenses that happen everywhere in the country, but for some crimes called assault, crimes affecting parents. People are assaulting, harming their parents because they want a parent to sell the land so that they can buy a boda. And when the parent refuses, you know what? They end up with a murder in the home. So we need to do something about it. Let me make that appeal from this podium, that Bomet, for it to be a peaceful community, I think then even for us advocates, we can come back and go right down to the ground and do a lot of mentorship. That would be my plea as I end my remarks. I want to warmly welcome all of us to be here. Unfortunately, I didn't hear the organizers saying that after the meeting, there will be a meetup where we could dance so that you can see also judges can dance, that they don't just issue judgments. And so, the announcement is coming later. So we were not want to bring dancing shoes so that you know that outside writing judgments, we are also human. Outside making those decisions that will be popular to one side and unpopular to the other side, we are still human and we connect, and we can connect at different levels. Once more, welcome to Bomet. It is our pleasure, it is our privilege to welcome you and to host you in the jurisdiction of Bomet.
Thank you. You know, in Kalenjin, we have a very unique way of greeting each other. And I realize the central theme in any greeting among the Kalenjins is a communication that you should love yourself or ask you whether you love yourself. Isn't that something beautiful? Isn't that something beautiful? Ojomege? Ojomege? Kongwe. Yes, my name is Henry Kene, as indicated by my brother Kipwech. Currently serving as the chair LSK North Rift, and also serving as the chair of the branch chairs caucus, that is for our 8 branches. And before I move further, considering that the position I'm holding is elective, and as a chair of the caucus, I don't want to be sacked tomorrow. I have other leaders of the Law Society of Kenya in the different stratum of our leadership. Allow me to recognize all the leaders of the Law Society of Kenya, all the way from chapters to the national level, who are present with us. I know Mr. Mutai Julius is present. Mr. Julius Mutai is the representative of North Rift in the Council for Rift Valley branch. I know Mr. Edmond Kiprono, present. Yes, thank you. The chair, Kericho chapter. Your Excellency, and our chief guest today, the Governor, Bomet County, Professor Hilary Barjok, our Senator, Bomet County, Wakili Hilary Sigei, our former Governor and current Judicial Service Commissioner, Your Excellency Isaac Ruto, the honorable judges present with us this afternoon, the honorable magistrates led by my brother, the Honorable Dennis Mikoyan, the senior counsel present today, led by Senior Gennaro Kibet. And Senior Gennaro Kibet, you need us to teach us your ways of how to be a senior counsel. We need many Kalenjins to get that SC inscription into their names. Esteemed colleagues, it's a pleasure to be here this morning. A great opportunity to be in Bomet County. And as I came to Bomet this morning, I actually realized that it's been 12 years since my last visit to Bomet. I want to thank the organizers of this event for thinking of having it in the South Rift and more so in Bomet, to allow us also to tour our region and to understand what opportunities are there for us as lawyers. This morning, I'm very happy to be in the midst of colleagues and also to be in the midst of our honorable judges, considering that we rarely have such social gatherings for all of us. And I believe it's a moment for all of us to be able to cherish and to take advantage of, to ensure that we move out of our usual busy schedules. Because all of us appreciate that we work in sometimes stressing environments. And when we get such an opportunity, it helps us to be able to unwind and bring out of such an environment that we are used to every day. Senior Moses Kurgat and your team, when I looked at what you asked me to speak about this morning, and I believe quite a number of us were surprised as to what is actually expected from that. That our holistic barometer of the legal sector from the oak prism. That is quite a mouthful, Senior Moses Kurgat. But I'll try my best. Was the first question that I asked myself is, what is the relationship between a barometer and legal practice? I believe quite a number of us are with me. Because we are used to a barometer in science-based environments. But then the other question that I ask myself is, do we have a prism as OAK on how to look at the legal sector? Do we have a prism? That is the struggle that I have this afternoon, and I hope you will forgive me if at the end of it all, we don't unpackage that sufficiently. Because good enough, Senior Moses Kurgat and his team did not give me a script. But before I go further on that, allow me to congratulate most sincerely our judges who are present here. When you look at the number of judges in the country, and you look at the probability of being appointed as a judge, you would appreciate the kind of effort these learned ladies and lords have put in place. And that will go to what I want to speak about. You'll find it midway as we progress. I want to equally congratulate His Excellency Isaac Ruto, not only for being appointed as a commissioner for JAC, but also for being elected as a vice chair of the commission. We are proud of you, Your Excellency. And like Mordecai said to his niece, Esther, Commissioner, I want to tell you that you are in this position, in this season, for a purpose. Your Excellency, as lawyers in this country. Why? Because about a year ago, we were so worried that as lawyers from the Kalenjin community or all the sectors, we were too far from the leadership. In all the sectors, whether public sector, whether private sector. But today we have you as a commissioner. And I'll tell you again, Kisonginin and Gay, by the time you're done with your time, we want great strides in our community. When you are told about a prism, to my mind, a three-sided item comes in. I don't know whether all of us would look at a prism as having three sides. That is how I look at it. And even if you look at it different, I invite you to look at it from my perspective. And so that we can be able to try and define what would be our prism as OAK with respect to the legal sector. And I want to look at the legal sector, one from a leadership perspective. I want to look at the legal sector from a service perspective. And thirdly, to look at the legal sector from a business perspective. Do we have a prism? Do you have a prism? Thank you. And now coming to the barometer. As much as I could not understand how it's related, but science tells me a barometer is a scientific instrument used to measure the progression of pressure in a room or a space. I don't know if we agree or someone has a different definition. What pressure then are we talking about when we talk about the Ogiliek of Kalenjin and the legal sector? What pressure are we talking about? And I want to believe, though I did not sit with Moses Kurgat and his team, I want to believe they were thinking about our influence as lawyers from this region within the legal sector. And what kind of pressure or influence are we able to bring on board as lawyers? And when we say the legal sector, it means spanning from private practice, the judiciary, the public sector, that is ODPP, Office of the Attorney General, the county governments, and all the other sectors where we have lawyers playing a role. You would then allow me to proceed under that understanding that the barometer is speaking to the influence that we have as the lawyers from the Kalenjin community in the bigger picture of the practice of law in the different sectors in this country. And I would then invite us that we need to interrogate our role in the leadership of the legal sector. And the other aspect of leadership, and this is where I believe our learned colleagues like Hilary Sigei, Senator, and many other colleagues who have ventured into leadership in other sectors will still also find space to appreciate their role in the legal sector. The question that we need to be asking ourselves is, how are we placed with respect to the leadership in our different sectors? How are we placed in terms of the leadership in the judiciary, our learned judges? I know you have quite a number of leadership positions in the judiciary. We have judges who are representatives of different aspects of our courts in the Judicial Service Commission. And we have many different leadership roles. We have chief magistrates and the other leadership positions. We have leadership in the private practice. How are we placed? And allow me at this point to thank my learned senior, Mr. Kipkoech, for the boldness that he showed us during the last election. Isn't it something to celebrate? Isn't it something to celebrate? I think that was the closest we've ever gotten to the leadership of the Law Society of Kenya, and more so the presidency. In terms of the leadership of the Law Society of Kenya, how are we placed? We need then to encourage ourselves that we need to play our role in the leadership of the Law Society of Kenya. Unfortunately, we've shied away for far too long. We've shied away for far too long. Unfortunately, sometimes I believe because of the prejudices that have been created in our minds, and I believe someone spoke to it. I believe it's Isaac Kitur who spoke to it. The kind of discrimination that people faced during that time. Sometimes we've been called names and associated with probably the political happenings in the country. And sometimes that has pushed us away from engaging in leadership within the legal sector. But I think the greatest injustice that we will cause to ourselves is to allow those prejudices to define who we are. We need then to step up in that. When we look at the service, the other spectrum of the prison, is that what is our place in terms of serving our society? How are we placed in terms of service within the judiciary, within the private practice, within the public sector? Are we stepping out to serve far and beyond our normal call of duty? We need then to encourage ourselves as lawyers that we need to be able to step in whatever service that we are required to be able to render. And I believe on the last spectrum about business, we need then to also look at the practice of law as a business. I don't think those who are in private practice would have any other source of livelihood beyond the practice or before the practice itself. I believe everything else would come in, but you need then to be able to understand the need to run our farms or any other spectrum that we are given under the required business strategies, so that we don't just practice law for the sake of it, but ask ourselves, are we able to run our law firms and many other responsibilities that we are given from such a business-oriented perspective? I know time is far much gone, but I want to call on all of us to step out, rise to the occasion.
Makofi ya kilo ya Governor Isaac Ruto na Vice Chair JSC 1, 2, 3, 4. Karibu Governor.
Yes, thank you very much. Now, I don't know how to refer to you. KBN. Now, judges present, magistrates. Now, I don't think we have agreed that Sigei should monopolize that. You still own it. Good afternoon. Yes, usually when you hear of a keynote speaker, you expect him to come on stage with papers. I'm not used to that. I'm coming from a field where you just say what you think you should say. And you say it whenever you are invited. Otherwise, I'm quite delighted to be here with you today. Presence of eminent judges and the lawyers, including they used to be Queen's Counsel. Now here you are King's Counsel. Now that there is no Queen, I think you adopt that. And I'm happy to see this number of lawyers present today here in Bomet. And I must say, Karibu Kabisa, you are most welcome. Today I will speak basically as a member of the Judicial Service Commission and also as a local to some extent. I want to say it has been an eye-opener to work with the judiciary. This past 1 year, I think we are just approaching a year, only about a month or so. I think by mid-July, June, I think we were sworn in. This past year, I've worked with the judiciary. I've learned a lot. That you people, you do a lot of work, and that Kenyans may not even be aware how much you struggle to serve them, how much actually do a lot of soul searching, introspection, to provide a better service to Kenyans. Most of the Kenyans are not quite aware. They still look at some sort of a Googles, especially those in the bench. Mysterious Googles, like they would say in was it Things Fall Apart of Nigeria, that you are mysterious fellows. We have been telling them that, look, these are your own. These are your children. These are your sons and daughters. The only difference is that this is the group that got A's and disappeared. The ones we interact with most of the time got the rest of the marks. So they didn't disappear, they stayed around. But now they are not sure about what you do. They only hear you dispense some punishments, not even justice, and you disappoint them. But I think we are going to turn those tables and get the rest of Kenyans to understand the hard work you do. You actually spend a lot of time. Our judicial officers, judges, they spend a lot of time doing what they are expected to do. They don't even have time for their own children. We have had occasions where we are told children wanasema kila mtu akifika, shh, mom is writing a judgment up there. Everybody, including us, to keep quiet. They don't have time because they must write the judgments. They have no holidays because you work home with lots and lots of files. But what happens? Kenai sometimes are not even sympathetic with you. They can be very harassing. So I think you practitioners understand your colleagues on the bench and be supportive as well. We also urge you, those in the bench, to be cuts to the advocates, because they must also deliver to their clients. And we work together as a team. We at the Judicial Service Commission, we want to stay true to the provisions of the law, that we are there to protect the independence of the judiciary and to facilitate the delivery of justice. There's been plenty of changes during the tenure of the current CJ. She's come up with an approach. She's come up with the stage. And as we continue to unfold the meaning, we realize how important it is, that it is actually going to change society, and it is going to even change the perceptions we have. Here in our midst, we have got two drivers of some of those new changes. We've got Justice Sargon, who is in the AJS committee, together with Justice Professor Ngugi. We also have our young sister here, who has been doing very well in mediation, and that's where she cut her teeth, and now she's a judge at a pretty early age. I must say congrats to both of you for what you are doing. It is important. That's a new field, and I urge us, all of us, to embrace AJS. AJS is critical. We've got only 10% of Kenyans taking advantage of the formal justice systems. There is the other 90%. And I want to urge the lawyers to embrace it as well. This is not an attempt to take away your clientele, but actually to give justice to Kenyans. I want us to understand that justice is the basis of a civilized society. We all started moving away from the Hobbesian state of nature, where everyone was a judge, a king, an executioner, unto himself. He would make his own decisions. It still happens in some places. I've had some fellows in Meru. Yeah? Alikatakata mtu, and then he went to report at the police. Kauliza what happened, anasema everybody in the village knows hakuna mtu ananimulika na torch ikifika saa 2. Lakini huyu shetani alikuwa amevunja hiyo sheria. That reminds us that Thomas Hobbes was actually right. That type of life is both nasty, short, and brutish. Where there is no justice, life is nasty. It is just that. So let's take justice all the way to even those who don't have. Let us embrace alternative justice. It doesn't have to be we, the judicial officers, or us in the legal professions, who are the only ones who can dispense that justice. It's also possible for the families to sort out their problems. It's possible for those communities to sort out their problems without having to fight or shorten the lives of others. So I just want us to say, we will help and let's move on. And I want to urge you to be brave and move on. You are equal to the others, to the other lawyers, even better. In fact, I've had the privilege of sitting in the interviews, and I found a lot of you have done very well in that list. So I won't say who, but some of you were actually top on the list. You performed so well. You were elated to see that. So what is it that we are fearing? I want to urge you to apply for those jobs. The current Judicial Service Commission want to stand true to the calling of the Constitution, that we want to see the face of Kenya. We want to see the face of Kenya in the judiciary, and we will walk the talk to ensure that the El Molos are also represented, that the smallest communities also participate, that those, even the larger communities, you are actually one of the large communities, only that we have never quite known. But maybe your share hasn't been that much. But as long as you apply and you perform like I see you are performing, fear nothing. It's only you to take up the challenge, apply, and face other Kenyans in the interviews. You are equal to it. And I'm certain that you will continue to perform well, and we encourage you to proceed in that direction. I wasn't going to say much. I saw you mentioned something about agriculture there. First of all, even before I go to agriculture, there is a matter that Mutai also mentioned. At the moment, don't just get satisfied that you are 50-50 in this hall. You are 50-50 because you've got another age group that used to be more than the ladies. The younger groups, the ladies are coming in full force. I think the last admission had 70% were ladies. 70%. 30% men. At some point we recruited 27% of the men to the magistrates. That's recruitment. We had to think of what to do to reach the 30% requirement. Now we're worried. The girls are doing well, proceed. But where are the boys? We want to see 50-50. Not because I'm speaking as a man. No. I want to see the girls having their partners moving together. We don't want to see only magistrates who have no partners. You know, society requires that we pair. And that is the rule of not ours. Mwenyezi Mungu alipanga namna hiyo. So we don't want you to leave your brothers too far. not your brothers, your partners. Ama namna gani? Isn't that true? That way, we will have a judicial officer who is stable, even emotionally. Akiwa peke yake, anaweza sumbuliwa na mambo mingi. So I want to suggest that we encourage the boy child to move on. And where else than here to urge and encourage the young lawyers, please go out and talk to the young men. Go out and talk to the boys. We want to see you mentoring them. Please, take that responsibility of mentorship and explain to them the need to go through school. It's not that the boys have become lesser in their intellect. It's because I think we've left them alone, and maybe we are not taking that responsibility as parents. Here in this particular meeting, we've got parents. You are parents, more than half of you are parents. What are you doing about the boy child? I'm asked loud what the ladies are doing, and I've seen what they do. They mentor the girls, they talk to them, and the ones who go to talk to the girls are the senior ones. I've seen lawyers talking to them. I've seen headmistresses talking to them. I've seen senior church leaders who are women talking to the girls. Lakini vijana wetu, hapana. Sisi tunawachia watu wengine ambao hatujui ni akina nani. Even where you are now, there is a very close by some water point where we take them there to go and teach them some old-fashioned stories that are no longer relevant. When those boys come out of that place, they cannot compete with the girls who are being mentored in a better environment. So there is some danger to our boys. I want to urge us, please, let's move on and encourage the boys to also come and learn. We have also told the teachers, and I urge you to tell the teachers, when you bring those actors during the school functions, we don't want to sit alone. Wakitupatia the poems, and then the boys hawako. When they are singing, I have seen that best they bring about 3 boys at the back ambao wanakaa tu hivi. Try to sing. Of course, we know we are disadvantaged because the girls have very good voice. Yeah, they look much better. Yeah, they can swing better. So we are harassed. I think we are going to have a different choir for the boys. You know why? That gives them courage. Eh? Unaona msichana akija hapa mbele, aseme, my name is Jacqueline Chebet, and I'm going to recite a poem. Hey, alafu analeta Kiingereza ingine. You will not, there is no stopping for that girl. She's shooting straight to the top. Na vijana wanaanza kuwaogopa. They don't come near them because they appear to be better performers than them. But the boys are not even tested. We want to see the girls and we want to see the boys also reciting those poems. And please, I'm telling you this so that you can help us tell the teachers. And let's spread the gospel. I'm sure we've seen this problem, all of us, we've seen it. And we are not going to tolerate this. We want a future that is balanced. We want a future that is okay. Lastly, on agriculture, I see there is something you mentioned about agriculture. I'm slowly but surely getting convinced that Putin is right. You know, I sometimes don't agree with Putin, but there is something he said recently, that Africans are ridiculous. They are capable of feeding the whole of Africa and Europe, Asia, America. Huh? We can feed the whole world, but we are unable to. And he said only one thing. Look, Africans, they make English compulsory in primary, in their education system. English is compulsory, agriculture is optional. So what happens? They can speak very good English, but they are very hungry. There is no food. I want to suggest that, and Wakil is here, One of the things we are going to push is that agriculture be made compulsory from primary through secondary school. Because the population is rising, land is not increasing. We are currently importing food from Tanzania and Uganda. Where did the rains beat us? I'm sure Kibet, I was also in Wazingishu for quite a bit of time. There was plenty of food about 20 years ago. Right now we have to import food from Uganda and Tanzania. Where did the rains beat us? We have subdivided all the land as I Mekwisha. So even you as members of the legal profession, you may have to agitate that we must change the system. Subdivision and subdivision, we have got only 15% of our land is arable. And now we are subdividing it. Think of, there was only one parent, Akabeketh, 8 children. They have subdivided the land into the 8. The 8 beggeth another 8, so they are 64. 64 and another 8. Tell me how they are going to subdivide that land. This is a lot of nonsense, and I think we have got to relook at agriculture. I know time is not on my side. If you invite me another day, I can get into that subject. Otherwise, thank you very much. God bless you. Nakaribu Bomet.
Thank you very much, Kipkoech. But I'm just wondering why you are so particular about Viola, who is seated in this congregation. Maybe before the end of today, we'll be able to answer that. Our keynote speaker for today, who is also Commissioner with JSC and Vice Chair, Excellency Isaac Ruto, Honorable Senator Wakili Sigei, the Honorable Judges and Magistrates, Chair of Hawk and Welfare Association, and all the members, good afternoon. I'm Jambo. So I'm Professor Hilary Barchok, the Governor of Bomet, and I'm here to be admitted to the bar, subject to fulfilling all the conditions that are required. So I'm on the way coming. I will be very brief because of one reason. And also I will choose my words carefully. And I have a very short speech written because I'm speaking to a group of professionals who describe themselves as learned friends. So I don't want you to use the words that I'm speaking before you today to sentence me tomorrow. And that's why I have to be very, very careful. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to Bomet today for this very special event that we have as a group of lawyers. Of course, now by association, I think I'm also one, but yet to be admitted. I'm delighted that you are gathered here today on this auspicious occasion and feel honored that you chose Bomet to host this event. The theme of this meeting is globalization and digitization of agriculture, emerging opportunities for lawyers. This resonates with our county's priority areas, agriculture being one of the areas which has high impact in realization of economic development. As a county, we have also aligned our development agenda on the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, which is geared towards economic turnaround and inclusive growth through value chain approach. A reformed agricultural sector will not only bring down the cost of living and create jobs, but will also eradicate hunger. As a county, we have embarked on value addition in various subsectors, which includes dairy, we have avocado, we have sweet potatoes and Irish potatoes, among others. We are gathered here today against the backdrop of myriad of challenges, which include rising cost of living, fueled by rising food and energy prices. We also have rising poverty and climate change. This gathering could not have come at a better time. Our counties have not been spared from the adverse effects of climate change, including drought and recent floods, which has resulted in loss of lives, property, and damaged infrastructure. The onus is on us, lawyers included, to seek for solutions to address these challenges. As lawyers, you can change the world, starting with our counties, if we choose to do so. We are called upon to assist communities in accessing justice, especially the poor, marginalized, and the vulnerable in our midst. A case in point is what Isaac has mentioned about the Mau evictees. This can be achieved through actively engaging in climate justice, pro bono services to the poor, especially victims of sexual and gender-based violence, and conducting legal awareness campaigns. So all of us have that responsibility. Lawyers also have a role to play in challenging legislations that claw back on devolution. As I conclude, I wish to remind ourselves that each one of us come from a particular county. Hence, we must strive to support the devolved units to ensure that they deliver on their mandates. I wish you a very fruitful and engaging deliberations. Once again, Otagotin in Bomet, August Omega. Nikimalizia, and I want to speak like, Moses said, na Moses umetuchomea, Mutai. He was giving an excuse. And the reason why we are late is because we have behaved like politicians. I don't think that is true. Yes. Now, I want to speak like a politician. Nikimalizia. And of course, kutakuwa na kumalizia mara mbili, tatu ama nne before we conclude. So I want to welcome all of us to Bomet. Karibu sana sana. Now, as Kipkoech has earlier on indicated, niliongea na yeye. Of course, out of what he did, he was brave enough asimame kama mtoto wa nyumbani. Na alikuwa anataka ile kiti kubwa ya presidency. Si makofi kwake. Na karibu apate. And I'm very sure the next time he stands, he will win. The only thing that we need to do, we are not tribalists, but we need to stand with our own. Sini kweli, ukisimama tuongeleshane vizuri, moja wetu akisimama, please let us support 100%. I'm very sure, were it not for wale watu walikuwa na roho kwake, na mawazo kwake, and prayers kwake, but we also need kura beyond that. Prayers are not enough. Good wishes are not enough. We must demonstrate na mambo ya kura. So, Kipkoech, we congratulate you kwa sababu ulisimama and you are known. Even debate yako kwa television station, si alifanya vizuri? Si makofi kwake tena. And that is why I wanted to be part of this activity today, this event, so that we can celebrate him and celebrate also our newly sworn in judges. Congratulations. And we want to thank Commissioner, the first governor of Bomet, Isaac Ruto. Amefanya kazi mzuri. And I think as Kalenjin, we have one of our own. Tukitaka mwa missing. Lakini Isaac when ger kata lelangili asin de soetin gure ne gepwech code of arms komi soet okebara tep kile bulldozer turto go soet. So makofi kwa Commissioner Isaac. The only thing that we request, because for him to be able to push, lazima tuwe kwa mesa. And that is through application. When you don't apply, then he has no work to do for us as a community. Of course, he's in JSC, akifanya kazi ya Kenya, but he's also looking into the interest of the community. Sini kweli? Magimwa missing na ngochei. But your mere advertisement onge applying. Magimwa agenge neje gula apply na gibirsi moit. And is one of us in this county. So the same thing before we call, please let us apply. Let us try. I'm told one of the judges who are appointed, Kogi got trying sometimes back, but she didn't qualify. I mean, she didn't get a chance because of regional and the face of Kenya. But I think she impressed the commissioners. And every commissioner said, next time, when there is an opportunity and this lady appears before us, we not even interview her. Nikopea nafasi hiyo. Na hiyo ilifanyika. Si ndio Karo? Yeah, she's here. Na alifanya vizuri. Now, Moses, sisi wanasiasa, we are not good from your description. But also you as learned friends, you are not good. Niseme? Tamgote vasa gulamwa? The reason why you are not good is because there are few of you who are also letting us down. It's a very honorable, a very respectable profession. And when we see you, we see justice. But when you embarrass your colleagues, you are embarrassing all of us. One is because of the way you carry yourselves. We have quite a number, and I'm not happy to report this, who are alcoholic. Sinikweli? Can I give you the list? I have the names here. Nisome majina? Okay. So nitapea senior counsel Kibet angalie hiyo mambo. Please, for you to be trusted by your client, carry yourself with a lot of respect. Si ni kweli? Lakini nikikupata kwa mtaro, and sometimes you are recorded na hizi na your social media is all over. Alafu kesho unasimama kotini. Yes, you are a good lawyer, but I think you are bringing disrepute to the profession. So tuchunge sana, even if you have to drink, kunya nyumbani after meal. Sini kweli? So that by the time you are waking up in the morning, mambo iko shwari. So that is one. Secondly, sasa zingine unasikia watu wanasema usiwe mkora kama wakili. No, not wakili, senator. Yeah. Wacha nitumie mawakili. Usiwe mkora kama mawakili. Which means some of you pia wameenda na pesa ya your clients. Kama ilikuwa accident, unafuata pesa ikitoka, instead of coming to your client, inaenda kwa mfuko. Si ni kweli? Yes. So, nasisemi, I think it's only around 0.5%. The rest of you, 99.5%, are good. But there are very few of us who are giving us a bad name. And I want to believe our 0.5 wataanza kuchange from today, because Kipkoech amesema walikuwa Christian Union, and there are some of us who are good pastors. Tutaomba alafu the 0.5% will not be among the members who are org. Sindio? Yeah, that's what I want to request. And then I think ya mwisho sasa, karibu ya mwisho sasa. Mwisho ya mwisho. And I want to congratulate you. When I was just looking at this abbreviation OAK, ngawa ni Ogiliegap Kutid, I think a lot of thinking went into the choosing of this name. Because one, it's a tree. Sindio? Kigurene en Kalenjin. Kigurene. Mazimot bito kije ye kai ban ngale kai de. Isa kigurene. No maguriot kora. Ketin na magurikin chebitet kidogo. Mago chebitet. So it's a hardwood, has very deep roots. Ako muche ko barak. Yeah, is a tree with a lot of resilience. So normally we use it in making furniture. Amoni muche ko again very expensive furniture for that matter. So it has height ko kamwale wendi barak roots ko wendi ngwen. This tree also symbolizes wisdom. That's what I've checked. Courage and endurance. So as HOAG, Association Never Ogiliegap Kutit. Of course, I know the objectives behind formation of this association probably was to look at the welfare view and our community. So, and I'm happy today when you're introducing yourself, we have very young lawyers. The other one, the last born, admitted in 2024. See that in that first table behind Ukonyuma. So meaning, kitesetage ichigitu. And my wish and my prayer that we be rooted deeply in terms of ensuring that the welfare of our people is taken care of, the welfare in terms of the justice to our community and Kenya at large is rooted. But you must also be tall enough or get to go as a community.
I actually was not coming to run my presentation. I was coming to guide on the way forward. Nonetheless, I'll just pick it up from there because we have got to slightly adjust our program to accommodate the request that the Honorable Lady Justices and Justice Sergon has requested. You guys recall we had a program that was supposed to run up to 4 p.m. So walikuwa wamejipanga ifike 4 p.m. alafu waondoke. But we have been unable to do that. And therefore, we will actually run whatever presentations that we had prepared in summary, summarized from executive summary. You heard earlier on, Governor said you are learned. He was actually reading his speech because he was dealing with learned people. So we will ask the presenters, we will ask Senior Counsel Gennaro, Moses, and myself to share the document that we had prepared which we will run through in summary so that we accommodate the requests that I've said. So allow me to ride on the protocol that have since been established, but I must, in a very special way, acknowledge the presence of the judges here. Justice, Lady Justice Ruta, Lady Justice Bet, Lady Justice Kendagor, Lady Justice Kipingor, Lady Justice Presiding Judge, our host, Korir, Lady Justice Kemei, who is walking in, and I want to kindly request you to walk faster. I know you can run. And Justice Sergon, and the magistrates who are also with us, our senior colleagues who are with us, our colleagues, and everyone else who took time to be available today for this very important event. It's never happened in history. And in the history of Bomet, this is the first. So I'm proud to be in this season with you, celebrating OC this way. So because of time, and I had 3 issues, I do not know whether I've requested for the justices to give us only 20 minutes. There is a brief patron Moses that I needed to share so that those members who are probably joining us for the first time today and those who've been with us can get to know what we have done. So allow me to run through that brief so that we are all in sync in where we have come from, where we are, and where we are headed to. Because it will be very important later on when I'm asking for, when I'm presenting a motion to have our next engagement as OC, at least everyone else is in the picture. As Gennaro earlier on told you, we started, our first session was actually in 2018. When we had our first engagement, when we decided to meet together, we did attempt to register. Of course, we had challenges here and there then. So at that time, we were about 250 members. And as a matter of very important interest to you, we are now at 797. Our record has got 797 members. We started with 250. Part of the objectives, which of course we've shared in the group, that I feel is important to do, especially for our young colleagues and whom I want to challenge, going forward from here to take up major roles from within OC, is of course to support a number of students from law school who and also campus. We also mentor both young and old. By the way, old people also need mentorship. I want to confirm that the knowledge I had in computer and its use is not the same as the one that my little girl Natasha has. It is completely different. So I also equally need mentorship. Pro bono legal services is part of what we are doing, and creation of opportunities for networking. We have done the first dinner, I've said we did it in 2018. During that dinner, we raised 3 million Kenya shillings. And so far, we have sponsored over 60 students, both in Kenya School of Law and at the university. Simujipigie makofi. 60 students, I do not know whether there could be some more in our midst today. There could be not. But the number is that. And the process is still going on. We have had events. The first one was Sports Day in Eldoret. Actually, this one was not called Mbuzi, it was called Maize Eating. This is, we did the first one. This was in Eldoret. The second, we've had Pro Bono Legal Services led by, of course, this one a number of people have talked to. This was, it was the first assignment, and Mau was led by Katwa. When we had OC coming in to do the pro bono services, we were led by Senior Kurgat, and a host of us. You all know what we went through. That was the second assignment that OC did. The third is pro bono legal services in the athletics arena. This has been done by Gemator and team. Then we have had the session we had at Governor Sang's residence in Nandi. That was christened Nandi County Mbuzi sessions. And we've had another one in Nakuru Sports Club, hosted by our brother Ben. We had our launch, inaugural launch last year, December. That one earlier on, our chair, senior counsel, Gennaro, spoke about, where we had the head of the public service as our chief guest. We have this event today here in Bomet. We have planned for Baringo on the 2nd of August. This will be donation of books. There is a primary school that is yet to be identified. That is on the 2nd of August. We have had an arranged walk and tree planting in Eldoret. This is by the North Rift team. And we have two very important things that we are supposed to do. We need to do an AGM, and we have got to do the annual dinner based on the resolution that we had last year. The annual dinner will come towards the end of the year. The AGM, I will be moving that motion to request you that we do it in the next month for obvious reasons. The team that will be put in that AGM to run will plan for the annual dinner. And as you heard earlier on, Gennaro ran you through, we have been acting in our capacities. So, Senior Counsel, I don't know whether it's still the three lies, but of course you are the chairperson. And thank you for holding forth. It hasn't been easy, especially because of the programs that the rest of us have had, but we've been able to run. So I want to, in a very special way, appreciate Senior Counsel, Gennaro Kibet, who has been acting. And maybe we do not have, by the way, as at now, anybody who has offered to. So if we go for the AGM, I will still propose you, and I'll push your candidature so that you also go in now as a fully fledged chair. And Dorothy Gemator has been our secretary. I have her apologies. She was unable to attend, but she sponsored, I think, 2 of young lawyers to this event. So that is our secretary. She's the person who has given me the brief I've just gone through, and acting secretary, and I am the acting treasurer. So tukifika wakati ya AGM, mujitokeze, because you guys need to take lead. Earlier on, Kenai took us through the pyramid. Let's go for leadership. Let us do it. It's our time. We can get in the AGM new leaders because we want everybody to participate. 2, I have apologies from a number of colleagues. And I have the apologies of Honorable Elizabeth Tanui. I know Lady Justice Kendagor, kama utasema urudie bado, lakini wacha niseme juu mimi nilikuwa naleta, lakini najua pia ulitumwa. So she has sent her greetings, and she's with us in spirit, in soul, in mind. It's only that she's physically unavailable before us today. I've got apologies of that was I've said Honorable Liz Tanui. Kipchumba Murkomen, I've got his apologies as well. He arrived yesterday, he was unable to join us. I've got apologies of Singoe Korir, Singoe, PS Foreign Affairs. He's also part of us. He really would have wanted to come to Bomet. He's been here once, and he really wanted to be here, but unfortunately he was unable to because he equally arrived yesterday in the morning. I also have apologies of, I've said of DJ Gemator, and I have apologies of Emmanuel Kibet. Emmanuel Kibet is the partner to Hilary Kiblangat. He is the director at Kenya Ports Authority. He is one of our lawyers who is working for the party, and we had NEC, so we had to allow him to represent us in the National Executive Committee of the ruling coalition, National UDA. So those are the apologies I have. I have the support of Waziri Kipchumba Murkomen. His apologies has come with the support to this program. I think I'll be guided later on how I will share that support. He sent me 200,000 to support this program. Simpige makofi yenye inasikika. I have also been sent by Korir Singoe with 100,000 to support this cause again with his apologies. It will not be very, I think I've given all. I've done my notes, my notebook has disappeared somewhere. Oh, yes. I also have the apologies of Honorable Ngarngar. Honorable Ngarngar has also sent us his apologies. And lastly, Lady Justice Ngetich has also sent us her apologies. Good people, those are not small names to mention. That is the image of Oak. That is who we are. And every one of them would have been very happy to be here, but due to the circumstances of their job descriptions from the offices they run, they have accepted to also be part and parcel of the resolutions that we will pass here today. Justice Kipingor was my people master. She took me through the training and I am tailored by her. The second person who picked me up after Justice Kipingor is Senior Counsel Katwa Kigen. Katwa Kigen, he made me who I am, both in practice, in drafting, in speech, in character, in hard work, in personality. And Justice Kemei made sure that I got my salaries almost all the time. And I learned the art of hard work and being a business person. So Justice Kemei, these are my friends. So because tulisema tuna mingle leo, Anne, I don't call her Justice Anne. Let me do it today because of this event. Anne is my friend. She's my senior. She's my boss. She's made me the lawyer I am. I remember the poems that we did at Mbugwa and Mbugwa before she left me, but hiyo tutasema siku ingine. So let me appreciate you, Justice Anne Kipingor, appreciate Justice Kemei, appreciate my boss Katwa. The message I want to share with you guys, the young lawyers, never burn your bridges. That message is very loud and important. When I left Katwa, Kemboi, the blessings I got from Katwa is what has made me who I am today. And Katwa, I pray for you that you train very many other people. When they were asking about the people who've been, what term did you use in the ICC? Yeah, I wish you had asked Katwa the term that he was using. I'll not tell you, I want you guys to research. But yes, I had something to do with I'll take 2 minutes. I'll just go through the aspects of what I was meant to present. And my bit was about globalization, of course, the topic, globalization and digitization of agriculture, emerging opportunities for lawyers. Part of this will be dealt with by Senior Counsel General Kibet. What I had prepared for this session were itemized globalization and agriculture. What is globalization? Senior Counsel General Kibet will do that. I'm not going to say more about it. There is an aspect of trade agreements, international trade agreements. You know what has been happening. Last week, Senior Counsel came from the visit by the entire entourage of the President and the team, and it has so much that has happened, both in terms of agreements which probably were entered, those which were negotiated, yet to be entered, and not in any other aspect in agriculture. I know, I'll share these notes with the rest of you so that in your time you can look through them. What options do we have or opportunities do we have in foreign investments in terms of the capital, technology, the expertise? I think those are the things that if we had time, we probably would have discussed. And I hope in the question answer session, we might have to do a bit of it after we've released the judges. Advancement in technology, what are the challenges that we have, especially concerning aspects of data privacy, security, collection of data, storage of data, you know, the ethics surrounding the scheme of things within data protection law, intellectual property, both within the new agricultural technologies and the old that we've gotten used to. All these are very crucial. How do we go about contracts and disputes? How do we draft contracts? How do we resolve disputes? What role do we play? as lawyers, whether we could be advisors or as the people who will be retained for purposes of litigation. So many opportunities available in terms of advisory, in terms of actually advisory, drafting contracts, compliance regulations, helping clients to navigate through the complex trade laws, negotiation, and terms of negotiations. You know, I think there is so much that well, the IP aspect, litigation, dispute resolution, the new emerging areas on climate and the environmental law. There is so much, but I'm not going to run through this because it is also appropriate for me to let my seniors also say one or two things. To the judges, we are proud of you. The interviews of the judges I've watched, I watched the interviews of Lady Justice Anne Kipingor. And I was very happy when I didn't watch her when she was doing the live interview. I later on watched the sessions, and I was proud to be associated with her, and I was happy when she was picked in as a judge. The other day, I watched the interviews of Justice Caro. Wacha nikuite tu Caro, sijali. Justice Mukobali, because we need to mingle with them. They are sisters, they are friends, and I watched that interview and I was elated. When you were doing the party, when we heard that it was over, we wanted to come home because we needed to come and celebrate. You know, she's among the first. She's the first Marakwet lady to be a judge, right? Imagine. Simpigie makofi, Justice Kentagora. I watched the interview of Justice Ruto. I watched yours with my wife. My wife is a lawyer. And we ran through your interview from when it started to the end. Tulimaliza around saa 8 asubuhi. And we were very happy because, wacha tu nisiseme, Justice Bet, wewe ni mtu yangu. We had prepared for the we had prepared for the interview. Anyway, so I wanted to say that because I want to encourage the young lawyers. Take time to listen through those sessions. It is normally a very hot moment. It's normally a very hot moment, but when you are prepared, when you know your stuff, when you have read, when you are confident, the statements we were given earlier on by Kipngetich here about the opportunities that we have. When you watch these interviews, you feel, huu ni mtu wetu, and we are so proud of you. Justice Ergon, we have been through trenches. Hiyo sitasema mingi, lakini pia nakuombea sana. Justice Ergon is one of the senior most judges whom we can pick our phone and ask him for guidance. And without blinking an eye, he will tell you, my friend, I'm busy sahi, I'm writing a judgment, lakini wacha tuonge kesho. And you would do that. Justice Kamei, tutapanga ile mambo ingine so that we make sure the opportunities available for our people become our opportunities. Justice Kamei was one of the people who, ukitaka ule mtu wa kukutetea, tafuta Justice Grace, and you will never go wrong. In business, in negotiations, and in making sure that kanyote ataka, she's the one who can comfortably do it without blinking an eye. And hard, tough, but polite. Yeah. So, munichunge huyu Justice Korir hapa Bomet. Nimemaliza, I don't need it anymore. Nishamaliza, virudisha tu hiyo sasa. I wanted to thank Justice Korir. We are coming to Bomet with AJS. I know that Justice Kendagor is involved in it, and Justice Professor Ngugi, yes, I was with him last week. We are coming in full swing. I want to encourage the team in Bomet to do the needful so that we tap on those opportunities that come. The Commissioner didn't mention to you, allow me to say this senior, because niko home sasa hii kidogo imeenda ile pande ya siasa kidogo ya development. The new court, the court that stalled is going to be up and running very soon. I think they've been allocated resources, they have advertised. I don't know, keep Wameka contractor? Not yet. We have already. So we will be changing things very soon. So let's pray for everything to go as planned, because these judges need places to work which are very conducive. If I didn't mention you, it's not because I do not know you or you don't have a place in me. All of you are very critical players to where we are headed to, and where we have come from. To the young lawyers, let's hold this oak. It's very important. Let us hold it. Even meeting just like this without saying anything is very important. Kukutana tu, kusalimiana, to be happy and know that I have got my brother or my sister who is holding my back somewhere. It's critical. So let us hold it dear. It's a very critical structure that can hold us together for purposes of pushing for our opportunities, anything that needs to be shared. It is better when it's shared to the people you know matters most. You are all very important people to build OC. I'll be asking when we are closing to agree whether we do an AGM, not AGM, yes, actually our AGM. I want to request that we do it in the next month so that we do it Zazile Bado Tukona Mioto. Allow me, I've rushed through so many things. Whatever I've said and what I've not said, Mungu anajua ile yote ningetaka kusema. Thank you, good people, because you have also helped us in the political side. Nataka kusema asante because I think I'm the only politician now who is here. We feel the other side. I miss the courts, by the way, and sometimes I sometimes wish I could just go back and do my daily assignment in courts. But I want to thank you on behalf of the rest of my colleagues uko uko nje pale bungeni and the political class. Nataka kuwashukuru. Help us where you can. Ask us to come back on track when we miss out, because I know myself the politics is a time-bound thing, but my profession is there for the longest. And that's why I try as much as possible not to be the typical politician who can say all sorts of things, because I want to come back tomorrow and appear before Justice Korir, and I don't have any issue over a statement I made sometimes when I was in some rally somewhere. And it's something that us as lawyers, for those of you who know the importance of building your practice and your career, make sure whatever comes out of your mouth, whatever thing you plan, is something that you can defend, whether it's usiku ama mchana. That is the message I really would wish to share. And as I end, I thank you all.
I spent about 2 days. First of all, my Lord, my Lady Justices, again, thank you very much for giving us the time, for waiting for this very short session. I think our Senator said he's taken all the 20 minutes, so we don't need to say much. In any event, he's really covered everything I was going to say. So I spent 2 days doing research on this, because Moses and I think KBN had a way of really making it very complex. I am not an IT person. I am a very small-scale farmer, as Justice Grace will know, and I confirm she comes from my village. She knows the grandmother that I mentioned. I confirm that I saw Justice Korir in the university. We used to go to a place called Box. I don't know whether you still know Box. But we found when we went to Box, she had already been taken. So, but I was going to deal with this I have about 18 slides on the topic, which is really basically what is digital agriculture, and what are the opportunities that are available to lawyers, and what sort of contracts do you look at. I am a commercial lawyer, so I've dealt with some of the things. Some of the things are very new. But the globe is becoming a very small world. IT, digital information, and everything is playing a really huge part. And lawyers have an opportunity to play in that trajectory of where the world is going, and to familiarize ourselves with what is going on. So I looked at the statistics initially. And again, I will really summarize. I will not do justice to this paper. I said I spent 2 days and with the aid of 2 assistants researching on what is happening. So I have quite a bit of information. But I thought if you talk about agriculture first, before the intervention of IT and everything, what is the role what amount, the agricultural sector, what role does it play in, in our economy? And there are statistics from Central Bank, there are statistics from FAO, there are statistics from World Bank, and there is, the estimate is between the list 21.7 and 27% of the Kenyan GDP is played by the agricultural sector. So it is big, it is not small. That sector employs 40% of the Kenyan population. 70% of that 40% comes from the rural areas. So it is a huge, huge opportunity. Now, so when you talk of the globe becoming a small place, digital information, digital operations of various sectors, what is the infusion between that and the agricultural sector? And first, let me define what digital agriculture is, because Moses gave me a very difficult time. So digital agriculture, which I'll call DA from now, really refers to what they call precision farming or smart farming. And smart farming, precision farming comes from in many ways. There is a farmer, for example, in Wasingishu, is my neighbor. His name is Kruger. He's part of the Kruger empire. And Kruger is a friend of mine, so whenever he has a new equipment that he is using in his farm, I requested him, I said, please come and let me have a look at it. Not because I will invest in anything like that, but I want to learn something. So Kruger invests in very, very advanced heavy machinery. So when after he's done his plowing, or before he's plowing, or he's spraying, he uses a spraying tractor that is controlled from one of the satellites using GPS. And then I asked him, I said, why do you invest in such equipment? And he said, look, he said, Gennaro, for a farmer who does 5,000 acres of spraying, if you double spray one line, I think those of you who know these sprayers, he says if you double spray one line for 5,000 acres, you can forget about your profits. So what he goes into his equipment, his machine, he has sensors, he has, you've heard of this thing called Internet of Things. Internet of Things is an amalgamation of so many things. Use of the computer, use of drones, use of robotics, together to create efficiency in what you're doing. So he sets his machine, and those machines can actually self-drive up to the point. Nobody touches, you don't touch. You're sitting there, it self-drives, it goes to the end and it stops. Then you turn it and it does the rest of the things. Now that is the advent of digital agriculture, the way you use them. There are mobile applications that are used. Mobile applications that are used to spray, so you can be sitting in your, if you're spraying your whether you're using sprinklers or drip irrigations and so forth, there are mobile applications that you can actually sit in your house or sit in your office and time them to go on those. There are e-platforms where farmers are selling their produce from the comfort of their houses or the comfort of their farms. I think some of you have heard about Twiga Foods. So to bring these examples closer, Twiga Foods is an aggregator of farms, farm produce from farmers. They do not do any farming themselves. I think they've gone through some very tough times recently, but there is huge investment by private equity funds and so forth into making it work. And the way they aggregate that is simply you're doing your veggies. Once you have harvested, there is a manner you get onto your phone or onto your system, and they know how much vegetables they have in the market, and then sell them in the. They do no farming themselves. Data analytics and AI. This sort of is used to process information on crop health, weather patterns, predictions, and so forth. And I think I've mentioned remote monitoring and automation, agribusiness management software. I've been involved in a transaction. It was an agribusiness joint venture between a multinational and one of the big farms in Kenya. And they want to produce about 20,000 acres of avocados. But when you look at the way they analyze, the way they use IT and other information to do it, it is mind-boggling. What are the benefits of this increased efficiency? Farmers can optimize their resources. It minimizes waste. Data-driven insights. Use of blockchain, I think, called blockchain management systems. And blockchain management systems is basically, blockchain is a network that you cannot change. The information is very reliable. You cannot change the information that is in a block. So information is contained in a block within a certain network, and then they are connected by chains. So they operate within chains. They are able to give you information which is untampered, information which is sustainable. Again, in terms of connectivity, enhancement of connectivity and so forth, it enhances those connectivities. I looked at notable recent collaborations. There is a collaboration between World Bank and CalRO on use of digital information and so forth to predict weather patterns for farmers. There is a research by United States, USAID, the African Development Bank, and the Gates Foundation. You'll be able to see those in the slides if once they are posted. So, what is the opportunity for learners? And I will note again, there are very many opportunities. A lot of the use of this, whether use of equipment like drones, have regulations. So there is a very complex regulatory environment to maneuver. If you, for example, and it's been very difficult for Kenya, for example, in the drafting of the regulations on use of drones. We have regulations called unmanned aircraft regulations. that deal with the use of drones. So when you begin to use drones, there are a number of issues, legal issues that arise. So when you draft a contract for someone, and I see a lot of these photographers and so forth, they fly drones, small drones that photograph. And the other day I was at the wedding of Karori. And I saw a picture of the drone which had been positioned somewhere, and I saw somebody's house from that. That is an illegality under the regulations. Unmanned aircraft. You're not supposed to photograph private estates, private houses, and that kind of thing. Those are the rules. Those are the licenses. But I mean, these photographers are a small percentage of people who use the drones. The drones are used in bigger operations, in farms, to deliver pesticide, to actually apply pesticide, to deliver medicine and everything, and they are remotely operated, whether by the farmer and so forth. Now, in the course of the delivery, in the pathway that it is flying, there are regulations. So there is legal advisory work with the regulators. There is, I think the senator covered all this, intellectual property management, policy advocacy by the lawyers. So to sum up exactly what I was saying, like I said, when you're doing contracts in these areas, it is very important, first of all, that you understand the environment that you operate in. It is very understand, first of all, that I always say to my associates, I said, first of all, understand the commercial aspects. What does the client want to achieve? Or what do the parties want to achieve between two of them? So two clients come to you, they say, I want to use this kind of digital technology in my area. What do they want to achieve? Does the producer of the equipment that uses that technology just want to sell? Or do they have a purpose that they want to achieve? So if you are just selling for a manufacturer, that's different. But if the parties come to you, then you have to understand the commercial aspects. What is it that they want to achieve, and how do they want to achieve? And it is our work as lawyers to then put those commercial aspects into language. Knowing in this area, for example, that there are pitfalls. There are liabilities. I've just talked about the use of drones. There are liabilities. There are liabilities that attach. Failure of equipment that uses that digital technology. Failure of the crop. And I will not talk about the crop now. You've seen failures recently in terms of fertilizer. That is an issue that can happen in the use of digital technology. So if one was using them to automate their sprayers or to mix some certain fertilizer amount and so forth, there are failures, there are liabilities. So look at those. What are the possible liabilities, and what are the possible remedies? There are ethical concerns. There are ethical concerns in terms of privacy, data privacy. You know, we have a Data Protection Act that protects data that is collected from people. Now, in this case, there is data that is collected from farmers. How do you ensure that data collected from a farmer is not misused, or there is no breach of privacy of data? There are trademarks that are involved in terms of any transfer of technology. There are trademarks, there are rights, IT rights that are involved. How do you familiarize yourself and see that is taken care of? there is also, when we talk about this use digital agriculture, we have to look at, we do not have equal footing. We are not on the same bargaining grounds. If we were to apply them, for example, say in the county of Bomet, how do we ensure that there is equity among the farmers? How do we ensure that everyone gets access into those? And I think Senator had mentioned a number of these things, including what is the impact on the environment. So you look at the act, you look at what they need to do. Do you need an EAI report? How do you dispose once they are have outlived their usefulness? How do you dispose whatever is left? So there is opportunity for lawyers. I think I sort of had never thought about this as a practice area until Moses sent me the WhatsApp saying this is what you have to talk about. I think a lot of us are stuck in the traditional areas of, I was talking to some colleagues as we had lunch, in the traditional areas of we'll go to a bank, everyone is on the panel of the bank, panel of the county government. You will find your 100 law firms, but the bank doesn't have that sufficient amount of work to give each one of you. So if we think out of the box, and this thing just kept me thinking, if we think out of the box, you don't need to go back to school to study. All you need to do is to read, understand, and see this is an area that I could actually practice in and actually succeed. And because it is so big, this use of technology, digital information, digital agriculture is going to be so big, given the rising cost of labor, given the urban-rural migration. There is no more room for people, and people are going to go farming. And those people who've gone farming are successful if you go there by yourself. So let's look at it. But let us also do it ethically. And I think the former governor spoke about the integrity of doing things, about the integrity of our doing work in many ways. And that will not let you down. Your integrity is the first thing. So you go to a client, and I think some of those things are things they look at. All of us are lawyers. Everyone can do anything. We can do everything. But you need to differentiate yourself in one way or the other. Not necessarily. I mean, we will all succeed in what we are doing. I was giving encouragement to the young lawyers who have just opened their law firms, and I was giving them an example of myself. And each one of us, I said this in Nakuru, each one of us has the potential. You have the God-given abilities to succeed in whatever area that you want to do. All right? Tune your mind to the positive aspects of that. You have the potential to succeed. You have succeeded so far to where you are. And I said also stay focused. If you set up a practice or you're working for somebody else or you're not doing, stay focused. I had the opportunity of working with Katwa at Kibet and Company, and then at 200 Kilo. And I know he's a very focused person. That's why he succeeded. And I hope, Senator, whatever you brushed off, I hope he said some of it came from me. If he didn't say, I will put him to task. But thank you very much. I want to finish there by again thanking each one of you. I know we've talked a lot of things. There were very useful learnings this morning from our leaders. I was very, it's not, the world is changing so much. When men are now looking for, boy child is now looking for affirmative action, then the world is really changing. It was the other way. Not too long ago, we have legislations like ACPO. Incidentally, there is, and that is another potential area. I don't know the young people. Some people are lawyers, they are also business people. They register companies and so forth, particularly the young people. There is legislation called Access to Government Procurement Opportunities for men, for youth, women, and people with disabilities.
When you read the Constitution, that is on touching on devolution and where agriculture has been placed in Schedule 4 of the Constitution. There is the national government dealing with national policy, the policy in agriculture and policy in health. Now today we're dealing with agriculture. And I want you people to pay attention to that because after what Wakili Senator Sige said and what Gennaro Kibeta said, you need to interface all those things they have said with what the Constitution provides. For you now, because what we've done is that the level of the discussion that we would have had was at this height. But let me bring it down for you because you're practitioners of the moment. I want you to look at what you can do to ensure that the county government, together with the national government, what are they doing to ensure that agriculture is put in the right place? Because there are so many policies that have been put in place, but effectuation is not being done. So an opportunity is there for lawyers to initiate petitions, to agitate for reforms so that this thing called globalization and digitization can be actualized. Because it is no longer something that we can ignore. It is going to be here and it is going to stay with us. I don't know how many of you are aware that there is a Mzungu here in Narok, just before Mulot, called Olerai Farm. You remember that gentleman? He's just a typical example of what this Mzungu in Kruger is doing in Eldoret. He's also using digital technology to manage the farming activities that he has been undertaking. He does well, while the local farmers around him don't do well. You should ask yourself why. It is because technology has been enhanced by the commercial farmer. But the commercial farmer can take care of himself because he has the capacity, he has got the funds, he's got the technical know-how, and he can acquire it by paying. For you, as a lawyer who is trying to advise a local farmer on what he can do, you need to understand what needs to be done in terms of educating the public on digitization and globalization. What does it mean? That's been described by the two gentlemen earlier on. It is an aspect that we can't escape from it. It is something that will have to happen, whether we like it or not. And the way we are doing the subdivision in this country, we may not be actually capable of actualizing digitization in agriculture because our parcels are becoming small. They're shrinking every day. And it has not been helped. I'm not criticizing the judges here. But recently, the Court of Appeal issued a judgment where they said that there is no need for land control board to be present when you are doing the land registration transfers. Yet the Land Control Act has not been amended or removed altogether from the statute books. It is there. Now the reason why I'm saying it was an unfair decision is that that decision then allows us to do whatever we want to do with the small farms, because you heard the former governor of Bomet say, we are subdividing until it is out of 6 people, you divide it into 64 pieces. You can't do digital agriculture. That is why my point was, I was going to argue here, that let's perish the thought that digital agriculture is the province of hustlers. It is not. They cannot make it. They will not make it even if we wanted to. So the concept that have been brought forward here, like the one done by Twiga Foods, it is called B2B, that is from business to business. Now they have also moved from business to customer or to the consumer. And all those were intended, and they were targeting the small farmer so that that farmer can have a market. For that farmer to get into that market, he needs to be knowledgeable in matters digitization. The only thing that the local farmer has is a small mulikamwizi. He cannot do that business because mulikamwizi cannot transact business on the net. Can it do? It can't. So the farmers here, all of us, we have our phones here. We don't make good use of them. The farmer at home will only use that phone to make a phone call, I can assure you. He'll call his daughter, son, grandson, Yoko Arabisek, Magitinyene. They cannot use the technology to advance themselves. So there are situations where judges can help, and also lawyers, by making sure that when farmers come to you as lawyers, you need to draft good pleadings. Good pleadings in the sense that if you take a bad case to a judge here, and the judges are here, they cannot help you because they know you. The fact that you have met the judges here today, if you appear before them tomorrow with a poorly drafted pleadings, definitely it will be dismissed. So take heed of what the governor of Bomet, the current governor of Bomet, said. As lawyers, be decent. Remember, alcohol is not a friend to anybody. Yeah? Excess consumption of alcohol is dangerous to your pleadings. You will never do good pleadings. You will never think, because pleadings are about thinking. You must think. You must give it a serious thought so that when you appear before Justice Ergon, you will be presenting a case. When he reads your pleadings, he knows this person thought about it, gave it time, and he did research. So as lawyers, start from there. Let's look at the cases that are filed by several NGOs in this country. If you want to know what is happening, let's go to the cases that NGOs file. There are some which they are filing on behalf of small-scale farmers because the farmers are saying, we used to have the traditional seeds. Those seeds have been ignored because of the provisions of the Seeds and Plants Variety Act of 2012. You remember the amendments that are done. Those amendments are having a very debilitating effect on a small-scale farmer. He cannot plant his own traditional seeds because they will not be accepted in the market. You remember there's a doctrine of tracing that has been introduced through the international treaties that we've signed. So every time you plant a product here, if it is found not to have been a certified seed, you cannot succeed. So there are limitations which us as lawyers can also deal with it here by filing petitions to challenge the provisions of the SPV Act. And yet, as people from Rift Valley, we do nothing. We've not done. In fact, the latest case that is in Machakos High Court was filed by a grouping of farmers from Machakos, Gilgil, Homa Bay. There is none that has come from our people. And you as lawyers, I want to challenge you. Read widely, check what is happening. Don't just confine yourself to the simple things of, let me deal with this case, there is no case to answer. That one will never make you any money. It is not enough to entertain me when we meet. It is not enough to take out Caro when you meet her. And if you meet Justice Caroline Kendagor, you cannot afford to entertain her because you don't have enough money to the clubs that she wants to go. So I want you guys to wake up. Ladies and gentlemen, wake up, do good pleadings, earn good money by looking at the best international practices. Don't just sit here and say you're a lawyer. As the governor said, Barchok said, don't let your profession down. If they find you in a ditch tomorrow, they'll pick you and take you to hospital, you'll recover. Then tomorrow you go and stand before Justice Korir in Bomet, and you did not prepare for that case because you are sick, and you want the client wants the case to be heard, where is the preparation? So these opportunities that we are talking about for lawyers in digital agriculture is well above many lawyers here. And I can assure you, I'm not saying this because I despise you, but I'm saying we need to up the game. So if we can up the game, then you can play in the larger league, okay? The large league that Kibet has just said. So, and I want to leave you with only 2 cases or 3 to enable you read. I want you to look at this case called Star Brilliant Limited versus Cabinet Secretary. I want you to take the citation, Minister of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries, and Cooperatives, and another, 2021 EKLR, okay? It is Star Brilliant Limited versus Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, and another, 2021 EKLR. Is that sufficient for you guys who practice? Then I want you to look at a miscellaneous application number 78 of 2012. For those who do good research, you will know how to find this miscellaneous application. I didn't get the EKLR decision. 78 of 2012. The parties you will get from that decision. Republic, that is why I want you to do your research. I can't spoon feed you so much. I want you guys to really get up on this. Republic versus Minister for Agriculture and 6 others, 2021 EKLR, where the constitutional rights of the applicants had been infringed and they sought court's intervention. This one will help our judges here to also, especially those who are coming in now, those who have been placed in commercial and those who have been placed in I don't know how many of you went to the Constitutional and Human Rights Division. Is there anyone of, none of you? Yes, not among you. But these are some of the things that we all need to learn because judges and lawyers, you remember, you see lawyers being promoted from the private practice to the bench. You also see magistrates being promoted from the lower courts to the high court. All those people, in my view, I want them to spend a lot of time reading and making wide research. You know why? It will make you a better writer of judgments. It will make you a better decision maker because you will have a wider variety of a spectrum of issues that you can deal with and pick the ones you want so that you don't spend a lot of time writing judgments. It is not the length of the judgment that matters. It is the brevity and the relevance that matters. So even you as lawyers, you need brevity and relevance so that when you appear before these judges, you need to wake up and know that they are not here just because they are your people to help you. You need to help yourself. And for the judges, final thing that I want to say, Mr. Kibet mentioned very clearly the areas that you have opportunities for. I want you to start at the lower level. Look at what the county government is doing because agriculture has been devolved. It's a devolved unit. So are you watching what the county government is doing? Because are they spending money on promoting agriculture or they are spending money to do other things and ignoring agriculture? Agriculture is about food. It's about food security in this country. It is not a joke. So spend time to try and help. That is the reason why we chose this topic, because we thought from where we are as lawyers in Nairobi, how much time do we spend advising our people to get to know what is happening in the market and in terms of legal practice? So those are my few areas which I would have wanted to tackle if there was enough time. But apart from that, there is one other area which there's a new development in semen for cows. You remember the AI thing, the one where a veterinary officer will come and fertilize a cow using his hand. inserting the semen into, okay? Now, there are developments which have come, and there are farmers who are promised that the semen that has been brought to the market is going to produce female calves. Then it was in Kisi, just your neighbor here. And when they gave birth, they gave birth to male calves. So what happens? The farmers were up in arms because the contract that they had been made to believe had been met is not what they got. So look at the possibility of helping such a farmer to get damages. Yes, and they can pay you damages for misleading you because the sample of what they provided is not what they finally provided. And the other thing is about fertilizer and chemicals. Of course, there has been a debate about fake fertilizer and substandard fertilizer. We need to start looking at those things. Those terminologies bear different meanings. Which one is wrong? Which one is correct? Another case which I wanted to give you information about, but I didn't get the citation. In 2000, in Uganda, the farmers were contracted by European Union to plant organic cotton. When the crop was about ready, there was mass malaria infection in that area. And the Minister of Health came and said, from tomorrow, we are spraying the entire region because we want to eliminate mosquitoes. And they went ahead to do that. This is a government agency doing it against the advice of another government agency. So when two government agencies do not read from the same page, what happens? It means they cause a loss too. So we need to start putting the government on their toes because the farmers suffer. Because you remember the doctrine of traceability in terms of products from Africa. We've been given very high standards by the European Union. And you're told if your fruits do not meet this, if your fruits if you have applied wrong pesticide, or any pesticide for that matter, if you entered into a contract with them and said you will supply particular quality of fruits or vegetables, green peas, if you supply the wrong one, when they land in France or UK, they'll check the standard, and if they find that it is not what they ordered for, they'll tell you to take your product. And because of the cost of retransporting it back to Kenya, it is impossible for such a farmer to bring it back. Do you know what the Europeans are doing? They take it to lower cadre supermarkets to make low-quality products for the refugees from Africa, to feed them because they have been given status to stay. They don't throw away. They tell you we've thrown it away because it was not meeting the quality. But they give it to their people. And they still make money. The local farmer here suffers. So you need to get the farmer to understand the contracts that he has signed. And I'm happy that Kibet mentioned that there's need for perfection of the contracts. And that is what we need here as lawyers so that we can get the farmers happy. So that is the little that I would have wanted to say, but for lack of time, and I'm hoping that you've enjoyed yourselves. So thank you very much, judges, for listening to me. And I want to request Justice Sergon to come and give his few remarks on behalf of his colleagues who are here.
Let me begin on behalf of my colleagues by saying that we are so excited to have been invited to join you in this esteemed gathering and to share with you a platform like this. The excitement is more in that when we looked at the topic that is the theme of this meeting or conference is digital agriculture. I was even wondering how is it related to, to lawyers. Now I've seen the interface. It is come out clearly, and though they specialize in sort of crop agriculture, I expected maybe, although you mentioned towards the last bit of it, when you look at livestock, like for me, I'm a farmer. I do zero grazing, and a lot of technology comes into place. When you talk about sexed semen, you really it's an opportunity where at times, okay, I have done that, but I have never failed to, to have the results from the cement that I bought. So I think maybe they now sold the correct cement that is required. Okay, the other thing which I wanted to say is that we as judges were so pleased that we are able to interact freely like this. And this should be something ongoing. And we are also ready to mentor. Just like you allow the seniors to mentor the young advocates, we would wish to mentor. And thirdly, the other aspect which I know, we work, is sort of like a lonely job. At times you have no one to tell you or even to review, apart from getting decisions from the higher courts. You are the high court, from the Court of Appeal, you are able to get a critique, the outcome of, the appeals that challenging your decisions. This is where you've not done well. This is, personally, I would wish to have such a critique, rather than see now, rather than wait until you see now people are complaining, oh, this is an incompetent judge, or this is, so personally, I would wish to be having such an interaction where we are able to critique, where we are able to say, yes, judge, here, we've not done well this way, and all that. I think I'm not a type who can throw a file at you. I don't get annoyed and say, okay, this one, no. Who are you? What can you tell me? No, I am ready to learn also, even from the youngest of the lawyers. The other thing which I know we have sat the whole day is that we need to have more of this. We need to have more of this. And in future, maybe as we organize forums like this, we should have sessions where we even have something like team building. So that we have such sessions. After this, we go for team building. In the process, you interact a lot. And let's not make it one day. In future, I propose also for the, I know so many people, so many lawyers would have wished to come, but maybe the question of sponsorship may not have been there, but maybe to suggest to the committee in future, we can do quite length of, a longer period of raising funds for purposes of, we are ready also even to sponsor in our own way, to sponsor those who are, yeah. So if we get the information early, we are able to do that. So one thing I know in our midst, we have Professor Mutai, this one of law school. I know for those of us who have students who have gone through law school, we have also gone through law school, we should take advantage of your presence. We need, in fact, we seriously need you to organize sessions where we need to mentor those ones who are joining law school, because they have so many difficulties in completing their studies, particularly at law school, the professional studies. I know there is a big challenge there, and we need that secret We need that information so that we can pass over to, those ones who are aspiring to join law school. So that's an area we need your support, Professor Mutai, and take it seriously, please. It is a request, and I think you should organize mentorship programs and so that we are able to assist. I'm sure if you ask nearly all these, particularly the youngsters who have just joined, who have just been admitted, they will tell you how difficult it is to pass law school. There are some subjects which are very, 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 difficult to pass. Tell us that secret, please. We don't want a favor, but we want to be, we want these people to be mentored. I know people have spoken, let me not say much, but to just say thank you very much for this session, and we are happy also you are appreciating the roles in which all of us play. Thank you very much.
Vote of thanks. It's unfortunate that the judges have left, but I'll thank all of them anyway. So this has been, I believe, and I feel it in my heart and in my veins, that it has been a very successful event. We've done it, we've pulled it. Among all the OAK events, except the one we did at Western Hotel in Nairobi, this is the best, the one that has been organized with a lot of intensity, because at one stage it looked like it may not take off. And I said, this reputation, South Rift will not have it. And I'm happy that we have pulled it through. And because that there had been even comments like, will South Rift really pull through? And I said, they will pull through. And I can assure you, you've done very well. So the first vote of thanks that comes your way is to each one and all of us here for having made this event to succeed. Second, I wish to give a vote of thanks to our judges, especially those who came, those who called, because one of the things, because I invited each one of the judges personally by sending a message and by talking to them on phone. Some I had never spoken to them before because there was no need. You just don't call judges, especially for us who are in private practice. Those ones doing litigation. You don't place phone calls to judges who might be hearing your matters. But in this case, I took the liberty because I've appeared in the Court of Appeal, I've appeared in the Supreme Court, I've appeared in the High Court, I've appeared in magistrates' courts, and I made an effort to reach each one of the judges. And I'm happy they responded. They were all willing to come. So let's give them a round of applause for having agreed to come and grace this occasion. Even if they did not come, some of them actually contributed kidogo kidogo. You will see from the Treasurer's report when it is released, the judges who gave the money. Some even sent some today, so we'll be surrendering it to the committee in the course of the evening today. Number 3, I wish to thank the keynote speaker, the vice chairman of the Judicial Service Commission. We are honored because of one thing, and I must tell you people, Judicial Service has been a slaughterhouse for our people who have gone for interviews in the past, because the people who are presiding over the interviews had their own interests to take care of. They did not care about us. So if you had one small problem, one small issue, if you didn't display any confidence, you're marked down. And as we said here, attending that interview is like doing a high-octane job. It is sweaty for those who can't hold it. It is scary. You stammer, not because you ordinarily stammer, but because of the enormity of the exercise. And those who are interviewing you will take advantage. So when you go for an interview in JSC, get ready, prepare, ask for you to be prepped. It is not an offense. We've seen, we do not normally have answers for the questions that will come. But when you watch the videos and the interviews that have been done, you can always gain confidence by seeing where others made mistakes and where others did not make mistakes and how they got through. So let's be ready, because now JSC has 2 people from our community. It's Fatuma Ibrahim Sichale and Governor Isaac Ruto, and who is the vice chair. So let's not lose this opportunity. For the years that they'll be there, those who want to apply to become magistrates, apply. You want to become a judge, apply. Because they'll keep advertising these things because of, you know what happens? The nature of attrition. People will leave, some will retire, some will resign, some will pass on. We're not wishing anybody to pass on, but it happens. And they have to be replaced. Sindio, ama namna gani? So some of these things you must be ready. If it happens, you apply and you get it. So let's thank the 2 commissioners for willing to work with us, to identify with us, because that is exactly what they've done. Then, number 4, I wish to thank my committee members who burned the midnight oil to get this thing off the ground, to get this thing into this position, to make this thing succeed. And it has succeeded. Ama namna gani? Mmefurahi? Si siku ingine watu wa South Rift wakisema wanataka kufanya party ya Oak, mtakuwa tayari? Si umeona vile inaweza fanywa? Safari hiyo ingine, watu kutoka North Rift kama mimi siwezi saidia nyinyi kuorganize, nitawachia nyinyi. Mng'ang'ane. Asi tuangalie kutoka huku kando. You have learned your lessons. You now know how it can be. And it is very easy to pull through. So thank you very much, committee members, comprising of Kip Koech, KBN Tisho is really the engine behind this project. He is an advocate based in Nakuru, and he's also got a home in Kericho. Then there's Kiprono, who is the chairman, Kericho chapter. He'll tell you that I did not give them a breathing space. I called them when I wanted action to be taken. If they did not answer, I'll write a message. And then I'll call again, because we wanted this thing to succeed. So thank you very much, committee members, for enabling this project to take off. Number 5, I wish to, I want to thank specifically the governor of Bomet, because apart from agreeing to attend, he has also given us support. He came with it, and we shall be handing it over to the committee. He has given us 160,000, and we shall apply it to good use for the activities of Oak. We shall not eat all of it here today. So lazima ingine, si lazima tubakishe, ama namna gani? Yeah, because in August, we are going to Baringo. We're going to be doing a stocking of library and distribution of books in schools in Baringo. We are yet to know which schools are going to be targeted, but we shall definitely want to do it. We want to ensure that those marginalized groups that practice livestock rustling, cattle rustling, we need to get them to understand education is very important. And by the way, if we had had a chance to discuss the presentations that we had here, there's a project that was set up to put microchips on the cattle in North Rift, so that the technology that we're talking about, farming technology, was going to help in tracking the animals that have been stolen. And it would have discouraged the cattle rustling business, because they would not know. If they looked for it in the ears, they'll not get it there. They're not going to put it in obvious places. It was going to be put in areas where the cattle rustlers